we're doing 13B DCT, which this is the mock-up engine. My transmission showed up, the correct one that is V8 with the adapter that we have. I'm getting a warning before I walk into the shop right now, as I have not seen it yet in the car, but I will say from how it was looking, it wasn't looking too hot in the last episode in terms of spacing. Let's get it over with. Oh!
So the two bolts that hold the rack to the cross member, the tip of the bolts are kind of in the way, so I just wedged a piece of wood in there so you know we don't mar up the bottom of the rotor housings. We are gonna likely have to cut your trans tunnel out and make a new one, just so the engine will actually sit where we want it to sit. We'll cut the transmission tunnel out and then
completely?
Yeah,
and
then make the engine sit where we want it to sit, and then build our transmission tunnel around the transmission itself. So that way we just do enough to make the clearance that we need. But if we try to build the trans tunnel first, then it doesn't fit, and then we end up having to modify it. Because right now it's almost impossible to get the motor to sit back far enough to where we could try it.
She gotta go
I
ways
said
in
about
there.
3 inches further back we want to be at. But it's also going to be determined by the pan once we figure out how much depth we have on the pan and where the sump actually starts.
Yes, we have a Moroso front sump pan on the way. And then we also have the front engine mount on the way, but we're still looking for the 12A front cover.
Ooh.
Which I gotta find in like 24 hours. So by the time this video is up, hopefully we already found one. So we're gonna have to remove all this.
At least temporarily, and then we'll see how much we can actually play with, because ideally I'd still like to have a defroster that's functional, even if the air conditioning's not going to work, but at least when you're in the car and if you have like the windows up and it's raining. The
only thing that I have that has a full custom trans tunnel is the drag car, but it started off as like a custom chassis anyway. So how do you go about that on this? Like, are you going to be cutting out an inch or two tier, just making a line?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cutting this all out.
So ideally what we had kind of talked about is if we make the opening at the front of the trans tunnel a square, or at least, you know, with boxed corners, then what we can do is from wherever our stop point is back here, we can just get like 3/4 inch round stock and then just weld it from the base there up to our corners, and then we can lay flat sheets between the bars so that we have nice smooth rounded corners. We still have plenty of clearance and it still stays structural.
This is escalating real fast.
It's alright, we're waiting for parts anyway. Gives us something to do next week.
I mean, you stitch welded the engine base, so now it's got to go full race car with carpet.
Well, I guess now we start chopping things up.
Yeah.
All right, it is cutting time. Chris and Pritchett have been doing a lot of pulling and cutting and marking and got all of this out of the car so that we can start to cut into the trans.
That was all just your radio. No other portion of the chassis. That was just what was hooked up to your radio.
Dang, they were thumping.
Spaghetti.
So now everything is removed from back here that might have seen too much heat when we were cutting through. You guys already marked where to cut. It's like a color within the lines.
Yep.
Cut within the lines.
Really hot burning coloring book.
Oh yeah, because we're gonna be using a plasma cutter on this. I thought we were gonna be taking a grinder to it, but no. Cricket's here with the tools.
Cricket's favorite tool. He doesn't even use drill bits anymore. He just blasts holes with the plasma cutter at this point.
I got good at drawing circles.
Brought my painting mask.
Atta girl, see? That'll be better for you. You don't want your voice to drop octaves like mine.
Yeah, we need to find videos of you talking before.
We'll show you later, but we're not going to talk about it on film.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm a salesman here at Subaru.
You're not getting the secret of when I had like 2 octaves higher. I sounded like a little kid.
I can't even imagine that.
I'll show you later.
And he had a cookie shell necklace on.
Shut up! We're giving away all the good stuff.
I love that. I love that. Oh, one more development as well. As they were tearing through the other side, we did make the decision that we're essentially going to get rid of pretty much all of the stock AC things. Yep. Really, to make it work anyway, I was going to have to go aftermarket full solution. Some of this stuff had to get destroyed.
I got it out of there. I only had to break 1 ear off of it actually, so that worked out good. So, I mean, if you did come down to it, it wouldn't fit anyway after our trans tunnel's put together. But at least you got it.
Yeah, you can sell it if you want to.
Still
slightly used.
Perfect. Slightly damaged. And eventually, most of the wiring is going to be coming out of here because we are not going to be using the stock chassis wiring or any of the wiring now.
Of all of this stuff, we're just going to retain all our pigtails and stuff, and then we're going to build a whole new chassis harness using the Haltech PDM in there, so that way we can control everything from the ECU, and then just be a couple buttons, but we're still going to give her a radio and power windows.
Be a lot simpler and a lot prettier too.
A lot prettier. And then we don't have to deal with any of that stuff underneath the dashboard or trying to integrate all the stock stuff. We just run new wires for what we want to run. And seeing as we're getting rid of our clutch pedal, we can block block off the holes in the firewall for that, block off the holes in the firewall for our evaporator core and our heater core as well.
Yeah, so there's a few things happening right here. We're gonna start with cutting the trans tunnel, and this was basically the measurements that you guys had already took from before.
Yeah, so height, width wise, everything is good there. It gives us some wiggle room so that way we're not running like super tight against the firewall when we're dropping the engine in. So every time we have to deal with those transmissions, it's usually a lot of room we need to make. So I'd rather have a little extra room since we're gonna cut it anyway. So we're gonna position the motor with the trans tunnel just cut, and then kind of build a template around how much room we actually need to utilize.
Cool, well, cricket, let's go.
Let's get the plastic chopping.
Sections that need to be hit on the inside. So Cricket's gonna get that real quick. The crookedness of this all, but I'm told that we can make that better. We're gonna have to use a grinder anyway, right? Okay. That part was a little straighter. We'll just focus on that part and not all of thatness. So all the flames are not normal. There's something that in the center here was just, right here was just super flame mode on the inside. Thanks for making sure we didn't go up in flames.
Kind of heat insulating stuff.
Not fireproof stuff.
It's not fireproof. A not fireproof firewall.
Yep.
Well, at least not fireproof to a plasma cutter. Anyway, plasma cutter can melt through steel. So.
We have another development as well. I haven't told them about the tubs.
Oh, that's good.
We're gonna tub this car.
We're gonna make tubs though. So not only are we gonna get tubs, we're not gonna get tubs. We're gonna make tubs from scratch.
Full custom.
Whole thing. I've never tubbed a car before, so.
Me neither.
Yeah, first. And we're gonna do it custom, no trailer things.
Oh yeah, no trailer fenders.
We're gonna build them from scratch.
And add a little spice. You guys are showing me all these ideas.
Yeah,
We'll leave that one up to surprise though.
Yeah. We'll let you guys see the final product, but it's gonna be super cool, super unique, full custom.
Tubs, so it has to be cool. It has to be custom.
Reason for that is that the OMD parts angle kit that we're gonna be putting on the car, we're gonna have to hammer the crap out of this entire area. So instead of having it look really haggard and beat and bad, we're gonna do a little bit of show car things, but functional.
Function and form.
Because we're gonna make this engine bay look all good and pretty and everything, and then you just have the wheel wells hammered out. Like nobody wants that.
We don't want that. So, and then I can learn this and maybe do that on my street FC. We'll see. We'll see how crazy we get here if I want to do this again, but I'm excited to see it come together.
We're gonna break out the plasma again, and
just so everybody gets nice and angry, I'm just gonna go ahead and chop this fuse box out of here.
Oh my God! Goodbye. Oh, bye-bye.
Top dollar.
For sale. We're gonna follow this line.
Yeah, for now we're just gonna cut there, and we can build up to where we actually want the wheel wells to go or the tubs to go, and then we can cut back afterwards. So we'll do it out of cardboard first, cardboard aided design, CAD board, and then if you like it, you like the design, then we'll cut it out and build it and weld it together, and, you know.
In this episode, we're basically just tearing apart the S15.
Apart this whole car.
wasting any time. We already got templates on templates and welding happening with the actual tubs. It's all happening fast. So walk us through this process of your template making to start.
All right, so the first template, I usually have Chris do it because I'm usually doing some type of fabrication already. So any of the brackets or braces that we end up making along the way, he'll make it out of cardboard. It's a lot easier to fit it in there. If you screw it up, who cares? You can throw it out, make a new piece. This is very cheap. Usually all the parts that you buy come with cardboard anyway. So we make all our templates out of that. So this started off like this in the car.
Okay, so this is template version 1.
This is template version 1. It goes up to the strut tower. This is inside, right by the front headlight, and then this is where your battery box used to be. So all of this stuff with this guy, as I did the paper on the last one. So basically you build the hard, you know, the outer shell of it first, and then you fill in the inside, and just keep working your way around until you have a full cased in. Then we went to this one, because we already made these 2 pieces to weld in. So this went up to this, right? So we welded that in. We found out that this had a little bend in it when we put it in there. So this bent in, that frame got wider the farther back you went. So we made these, welded this together, and then I filled in the blanks from there, because then I could get a good solid piece. And then made this one to go with it.
And this is all stainless?
This is all stainless, plus stainless is really pliable. This stuff is like 18 gauge, so you can bend it with your hand.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually have to bend anything with this big roller. I did all this by hand yesterday, just getting it to mold how I wanted it to set into place to match the bigger piece of steel that we already welded in there. So we used the stainless just to mold everything and to get it to fit right, and then we made these, flattened them out onto the sheet of metal and just made a trace of it and cut it out with the plasma cutter.
So the final pieces were made from here?
Yes.
And what gauge is this?
This is 16 gauge steel. I could have went a little lighter for it. I mean, these are the chassis, and this is made out of like 20 gauge, but it's really, really weak. And we wanted to have some structure to it because we are taking out a lot of the strut tower in the front.
Yeah.
So we wanted this to be, you know, more structural than what was there, just to be safe.
Oh, so cool.
And then the cutouts, we're gonna do an aluminum back plate with some cool corduroy bead rolling. You know, dress it up.
Yeah.
You didn't let us build you a whole car, you only let us build this section. So we're gonna put all the sauce in this section.
This is the piece that's gonna go in here, so we gotta run this one through the roller, which is gonna be a little tricky because this is straight for the most part, then has a little bit of a curve, then this is a consistent curve all the way through. Fortunately, there's a big hole cut through the center of it, so that's gonna let us play with it a little bit more as if it was a straight piece of steel.
Yeah. So you did end up cutting out a bit more than what I cut out.
Yeah,
I came back and I was like, ooh, that looks a lot nicer.
And I went all the way up and cut everything out up front. I left just a little ledge on it so it would stay where it's level on the car. It wouldn't have to try and guess, but everything else I cut out. There's no point of having it
before everybody panics, we did leave both of all 3 of the layers of the top of the pinch weld for anybody thinks that we're, you know, taking structure out of the front of the car. We're adding structure.
Yeah, no, the 3 pinch welds are still underneath that plate that goes across.
Nice.
They're just welded to that, so it's even stronger.
Yeah, this is so cool to see like the breakdown of the full process. Because like I said, I might want to do this on the FC. So you guys are inspiring me and teaching me all the ways.
We want to inspire people to build cooler race cars.
With more sauce.
It used to be just all about horsepower. Nobody cared how clapped out your drift car was. Like the more bangs and dings and dents, and they're like, yeah, he drives hard. We're bringing sexy back.
Yes.
You know, it's 2023. Hot car summer.
Aesthetics matter. They really do.
We're gonna win the engine bay war with this.
Yes. Awesome. So, am I gonna do a little MIG welding?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, we're gonna do some tacking right now. So yeah, if you want a tackiotomy, we can do that. We have to do this one real quick. I'm just gonna throw 4 tacks on this, 5 tacks on that piece going down from here to here.
So is this, in theory, this should be a little bit easier than the stitch welding because it's thicker?
Yes,
okay.
but the tacks going on to this part is gonna be the same, basically because you're going to thin metal and this is thicker. So you wanna start on the thicker part and then just kinda work it over to the thinner spot so it doesn't blow through it.
And then once we get to all these.
If we get to all those, then it'll be a lot easier.
Okay.
Because we're gonna end up taking and grinding that down just like this. You know, ooh, you grind your welds. Yeah, well, it's gonna be pretty. The inside part, we're not gonna grind, so we're gonna weld the outside, and then we're gonna weld the inside part of it as well.
Oh.
For added reinforcement, because we're gonna end up grinding this down, smoothing it out, and making it nice and clean.
These hard corners, it'll be like a smooth transition all the way through. It'll look really nice.
The only other option would be
cool.
to TIG weld the whole thing to make it look really clean, and it would take forever. So we're just gonna MIG weld it, grind it, MIG weld the back side of it, and it'll look good. flat though, because I mean it's arched right there too.
Yeah,
so.
We're gonna see what happens.
Oh baby!
No.
I do say so.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
that looks really cool. All right, so we tried our bead roller and we tried Adam's bead roller, and
Our $100
one, we just grinded down and made it work. But yeah, that's beautiful.
That's awesome. So this is so freaking cool. These guys cracked the code of doing this on stainless steel now instead of the aluminum panel, which is what we're originally thinking, and then riveting this on. Now this can get welded to the car. Duarte's already jealous.
Yeah,
Just from the build update photos that we be texting him.
You guys make this car look better than mine, I'm gonna be pissed.
Like, it's cool.
Well, you only really gave us this much square footage to play with and add sauce to. Duarte had a whole car we got to do a bunch of cool stuff on.
Can we weld these?
I will say I didn't know what to expect from the sketches. It was really hard for me to imagine that with that specific pattern. But I think it's super extra and bougie and spicy and awesome.
That's pretty much how most of the stuff turned out. We build stuff out of cardboard, we build stuff out of, you know, paper and stuff, and then try and figure out how it's gonna work. And then at the end we're like, yes, that was perfect.
Yo, they're so salty. This isn't their car. Look at them. Look at them.
They want that bougie stuff.
I know. Look, everyone's so jealous. Do you need to fully weld it or no?
We're gonna hammer down where the little indentions are and weld those closed, and then we're gonna caulk them. But we'll put more welds on it. This is just to get it flat. Okay. But we're gonna seal everything so none of the smoke or any water or anything can get into the engine bay from there.
This looks so good. And can we just mention how everyone is coming over here?
Wicked jealous.
Wicked jealous. Duarte's coming over here. Booth, Donnie, Adam's getting FOMO, and he's not even here.
It's kind of sauce you can't buy in the store.
You can't. This is so good.
So I'm gonna take and weld it here and weld it up here in the corner, weld it where it touches, and then I'll take it, I'll hammer it, finesse it up into place, and then fill it with weld.
You guys, the S15 is already turning out so cool. This is gonna be just next level in every single way. Chris and Cricket have a bunch of really awesome ideas, and this is just expanding my mind to the amount of extra that you can be in the engine bay alone. So all this stuff has been really awesome, learning from Cricket how to weld and fabricate things, because on my street FC, my actual street car, where a lot of these extra bougie things would make more sense than a street car, but we do it in the drifting car too. But in the FC, I'm going to be able to apply so much of what I'm learning here to put into that car. I'm super happy with all the progress so far, and I can't wait to show you guys the finished tub setup.